Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another FanTeam DFS show. Nick, I nearly said golf there. I am here tonight to preview Gameweek 38, and alongside me, I've got the official FPL host here, Mr. Gianni himself. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Good to be here. It's been a while since I've done a FanTeam stream. I'm very excited about Gameweek 38 and some big upside on some big differentials, hopefully.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us. And Mr. Nick of Wigan, normally on our golf show with me. How are you doing, sir?
Doing very well, Jack. Yeah, in some good company this week. So, looking forward to it.
And Mr. FPL Teach Mode there himself, Andy. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on again.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on, mate. As I say, guys, we're here to preview Gameweek 38 and the FanTeam contest. The big one is filled up. It's done. You can't get in that now. But there are a couple of other contests running beside it. So you've got a €2 entry with a €5,000 prize pool contest to play in, and there's a €20 entry with a progressive prize pool to play in contest as well. So still a bit more to get involved in with Gameweek 38 and enjoy it. And we've got 10 games to look at tonight, and within the team builds that we've got as well. So, gents, I mean, we've got Arsenal versus Everton, we've got Brentford versus Leeds, Brighton versus West Ham, Burnley versus Newcastle, Chelsea versus Watford, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United, Leicester versus Southampton, Liverpool versus Wolves, Manchester City versus Aston Villa, and Norwich versus Spurs. The great thing this week, gents, all of them games kick off at 4:00. We will know the team news before lock. If only it was that easy every week.
Absolutely dreamy, that is. Like we, as like fantasy football managers, we just want to know team news so many times, don't we? And we sometimes go off these weird rumors, and we're like, "Oh, can we trust that? Can we not?" Well, for once, we're actually going to have some we got concrete news. We can trust sources. It's legit.
No, definitely. Any games that, Nick, firstly, I'll start with you. Any games that stand out clean sheet wise that you fancy out of them 10 games this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the teams near the top have got pretty favourable fixtures, to be fair. Chelsea at home to Watford, Liverpool at home to Wolves, City at home to Villa. The problem this week is that the pricing just doesn't allow you to stack a lot of the top defenders and then fit some of the top midfielders and the top forwards in as well. You'll find it really hard to split your budget across your team, which I did. I think I've deleted and recreated this team about 50 times now and still not been happy with it each time, because each time I do it, I just feel like there's someone missing. But yeah, I think if you're looking for clean sheets, those are the obvious games. I think there'll be some sneaky clean sheets in there as well. I really like Brentford against Leeds this week. And I think Leicester as well, though they have been leaky this year. Southampton are pretty poor scoring wise on the road. So yeah, I like Leicester this week.
And Andy, what games are going to be a goal fest on that schedule there?
Oh, there's going to be a few, I think. I think Nick's already mentioned about how a lot of the good teams do have really nice fixtures this week. I think Chelsea against Watford could be any score. Watford have shown that they don't have anything left in the tank at the moment. So, and I think every player is injured under the sun there, isn't there? So I think Chelsea could be a good shout. I think Leicester-Southampton's also a really good shout. Leicester are showing some good end-of-season form, and with Maddison and Vardy really shooting as well, I think Leicester could be a good shout there. Obviously, Liverpool and Man City, but, you know, if you don't know that already, then what are you doing? Spurs, I think, against Norwich. Anybody that plays against Norwich, especially down the wings, you think, you know, that's probably going to be a good shout. And for me, I think Arsenal against Everton. Everton, they look done now. They're still going to be drunk, I think. I can't see Everton really showing up. So I'm looking at that and thinking maybe Arsenal, because the thing is as well, Arsenal have to win to try and get top four. Like, it's still possible they could do it. Yeah. So for me, I think that's actually quite a good shout.
I don't know about that, Andy. I'm all on Everton. I think Everton gives such amazing value. Sure, we can go and spend loads of money on Arsenal players, but Arsenal needed to win at St James's Park. That didn't help them, did it?
Different at St James's Park, though, isn't it? Everton have had their pitch invasion. Their season's done. Now they're going away to
Does that
the
not
Emirates.
Allow them to play with a bit of swagger, a little bit of freedom now? I think Dele Alli comes into the 11. He's 6 million in this game. I think Dele could start, and I think at 6 million, I think I've got triple Everton in my draft.
Have you?
Legit.
Oh. Because I suppose,
Honestly.
actually, to be fair, they've been pretty good this year, Everton. I think, are they 16th now? So they're doing okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going for Arsenal.
I like it. It's on.
It is. One of us is going to do well.
Sorry, Andy, I am on the side of Gianni with this one. I favour Everton as a very nice differential play this week against Arsenal. I fancy them to get something. Arsenal not kept a clean sheet in 9 games. So, yeah, I fancy Everton to get a goal in this game. Anyway, it's a nice segue, Andy, into your team, and we'll get it up now. You have gone for the double Arsenal defence. Break it down for us quickly.
Yeah, so basically, it's exactly what I said. I just can't see Everton having any motivation in this game. They might have a little bit of swagger there, but I think Arsenal are going to be trying to basically win this game 1-0 if they can and just hope that Spurs mess up. Not that I can see Spurs messing up, but they've got to obviously try and win this game. I've got Schmeichel in goal. I completely agree with what Nick said at the beginning. Trying to find value in defence is really, really hard this week because all those good teams have good fixtures. So the players you want to get in with a bit of upside are really expensive. So, I've kind of gone for those Arsenal boys because I can see that there is a little bit of upside with them and they're under 10 million, which is quite nice. In midfield, I've got Maddison. He's in the form of his life at the moment, so I thought that was quite a nice shout. Liverpool, it completely depends on what the fixtures are going to be. I've got Diaz in there at the moment because I do expect him to play. I'm expecting Salah to not play, but obviously we will know the lineup before that anyway. Jota's also a great shout, obviously, if he's playing up top, but it'll be interesting to see who they play. I've gone for the double up of Mbumo and Tony for Brentford. I love Tony this week. I think for 9, is he 9.8, I think? So for under 10 million, a player that's on penalties, playing a lovely team. He's at home. He's their talisman, isn't he? So for me, I think that's a good shout. I also quite like Wissa this week, if you wanted to go for a triple up there. But obviously it depends how much you think Leeds might capitulate. And then I've got Kane up top. It's really interesting with Kane. I'm wondering whether you should go for Kane instead of Son and just hope Son blanks and Kane bangs, or whether you go for both. I'm wondering about the tactic there with Spurs. For me, I think it's so hard to own both because the money is so much. But I think if you can get the right one and captain them and they bang and the other one blanks, I think you're going to be loving life, aren't you?
Definitely. Gianni, first thoughts on this team. He hasn't really given us a lot to work with. Left, has he? 21.7 million in the bank.
I've gone for the opposite of last time. Last time I had like 50 million in the bank. This time I've gone, no, you can do it. You can do the boring bits. Yeah.
Our only option here is to go triple Everton, isn't it? In terms of money.
With double Arsenal at the back.
Yeah, right. I like your Diaz, Maddison and Kane, three, they'd be top 5 players on my team sheet. Diaz, I think Liverpool could have the highest ceiling this week, just knowing what City did to Wolves at Molineux not long ago. I think we could go. Liverpool could go big, and Diaz is the main man. I think he's captain material. I was surprised actually when you said you were going big on Arsenal defense. I was surprised. I thought they would actually be more expensive. So I can see why you like Arsenal defense. They're cheaper than we perhaps would usually expect from an Arsenal backline at the Emirates against weak opposition. But I still think Everton will get something. And then Brentford Leeds is such an interesting one because everyone in all the fantasy games I play are talking about Tony this week. And I understand why, and Leeds have been useless, but Leeds have to fight, and a draw might keep Leeds in the Premier League. And I just wonder if we're finally going to see a Leeds team that actually can park the bus and can only concede 0 or 1 goals. And I if it's 1-1 or 0-0, would I be majorly surprised? I don't think so. So I'm actually backing Leeds to get a draw. Will that be enough? I don't know, because Burnley might better their result against Newcastle at Turf Moor. But I'm not confident backing Brentford. And I'm not confident back in Arsenal, but I completely see why Andy's done that because, the odds would point in that direction.
Nick, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think my favourite pick here, I'm a big Kasper Schmeichel fan. I write about him almost every week in the blog on FanTeam. He always comes in cheap. I think he's 3rd or 4th on the saves this season. Diaz, I think, is your best pick here, Andy. I think he'll definitely start. I think he got limited minutes in his last games, which suggests he's going to start. Klopp's already said that he's not sure on whether to risk Salah or not, despite the Golden Boot chase that he's in with Son. I think he might keep him back for the final against Madrid, and he comes in cheaper than Mane and Diaz. And though we've normally got the safety net to fall back on in this kind of contest, which does come in handy, the beauty this week, like we said earlier in the show, is you've got all the team news. So if Diaz starts, I think he's a great pick at 12.2. I think he's took a ridiculous number of shots in the box as well the last few weeks. Probably unlucky not to have more goals to his name already, but not a lot that I dislike in this. I like the Brentford duo as well. I think there's more value though in Brentford, which I'll come to in my team when we get to that. But I do think you can't go wrong there with Tony and Mbeumo this week. Maddison's firing again. Maddison or Barnes, what you've got to consider in these kind of contests. I think we always talk, Jack, when you're approaching this, how many entries are you throwing in? Because if it's one, you've got to build a lineup that stands out from other people. Otherwise, you're just going to get lost in the crowd. I think Maddison will be quite highly owned. I've got him in my team as well, but I think, it is Barnes maybe a slightly lower owned differential there that you can throw in. He takes a high volume of shots. He's had some good returns as well in his last few weeks as well, Harvey Barnes. So I think when you are building your lineup, you've just got to think, can I build a lineup that could finish first but might finish last? It's those kind of lineups that sometimes come out on top in these contests. And sometimes picking the obvious players just isn't the way forward, which is one of the reasons I like the Diaz pick.
Definitely.
Two teams, by the way, that I haven't got in this team that I am really high on this week is Chelsea, because obviously against Watford, but their players are so expensive. But we're going to get the leak, and it sounds like we could be getting some real differentials because of that, because we're going to know the team, aren't we? And they're going to be looking to rotate. The other team's Palace. I can see them doing over United. I really can. And I'm looking at it and thinking, Ronaldo's already said he's out. Pogba said he's out. All these players are coming out and saying, no, I don't fancy this now. And I'm looking at Palace and thinking you could get some cheap defenders in there because of name value of United. Their price is probably going to be a little bit lower. Players like Zaha, Klein, people like that, I really like them as well. So although I've left you a little bit of money, that you might be able to get some Palace defenders in there, maybe. I don't know.
After watching Vieira kick in the week, I think we can get Vieira in our teams. I think he's worth a punt this week in midfield.
Gentlemen, where do you want to go then with this team? We've not got a lot of money. We've got 21.7 million left in the bank. Is Palace the route we go here, Gianni? Do you want to go Palace, that route?
If we can go Palace, and I'd be very happy with double Palace. If we think there's, I don't know, the likes of Zaha will be too much, but I don't know, maybe can we squeeze an Eze in midfield? Can we look at a Klein?
Let's get them up. So
Zaha, this could be Zaha's last game at Selhurst Park as well. Like Zaha, we do not know what's going to be happening with Zaha next year. Palace might have to. This might be the summer they finally cash in on him. Contracts winding down.
Should we chuck Zaha in to start with, and then see what? So that leaves us 12.8 million left. Obviously, we need another defender, whatever happens.
Yeah, look at those defenders.
Klein's 6,
so cheap.
So
they are so
good
cheap.
value.
Yeah,
do you want to go with Klein? I've had Klein so often recently. He's brilliant. Yeah.
Right, let's add Klein into this lineup, and then that leaves us with 6.8 million left. Do you want a triple stack of Palace? Do you want to go that route, or do you want to go a different route altogether here?
I would look outside now. I think double is enough. Right. Feels enough. Although I'm with Andy, like in terms of fixtures on paper, playing United who are away from home, it's up there with the best fixtures at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, United are so bad away from home, so bad.
Right, so let's go up 7 million, and then we can see what we can do.
West Ham defence against Brighton away. I think you can probably pick up a West Ham defender for 7.
Let's go on to page 2 here. We'll have a look. So we could get Noble, Shaw there against Burnley. If he plays,
no,
it's not great. He's marked yellow here, so we could get Pookie against Tottenham.
It's not the worst player.
I don't hate the Pookie shout. Yeah. I don't hate the Pookie shout. This could be Pookie's last game in the Premier League forever. Like, let's give him a bow out.
Back in 2 years, Gianni. Stop it.
I don't hate that. Would you be happy entering that team then, Andy? Do you like what we've done with it? Adding Pookie up front there with the double Palace stack.
Yeah, I could see that cash in. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
lock it in, Andy. Lock it in.
We'll lock it in.
Kane captain, obviously. Kane captain.
That team is getting locked in. Nick, we are going to move on to your team now. I'm going to remove Andy's team there, and if you can get yours up, please, sir, that would be very handy.
So, I'm a couple of similar picks to you, Andy. I've doubled up on Leicester. Currently got the armband on Vardy because I think he's in fantastic form at the moment, as is Maddison. I'm not opposed to even going with a Leicester triple up because I think for the money you can get them versus some of the top teams this week against Southampton as well, who they're so leaky. They're awful on the road. I think Leicester are really good value this week. Zaha, I really like the Zaha shout. We've covered that already. Eriksen was the Brentford midfielder I was referring to on value. The fact that you can still get him almost over $1 million less than some of the others. When you actually look at the underlying productivity, shall we say, of Eriksen, he's like his big chances created, his key passes, his crossing, his shooting's only behind Tony, and he takes a high number of shots as well. He's on a lot of the set pieces. I think Eriksen's great value. I think he's unlucky not to have more goals and assists to his name, to be fair, in his short time at Brentford so far. I've had to throw a Liverpool defender in there because I think the clean sheet potential, plus we know how attacking Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are, there's not much difference in price between them. So I've literally just tipped the scales in Alexander-Arnold's favour because, again, set piece, that set piece potential that you get from him. Trippier, I think, is... We've actually got double Newcastle in this at the moment, which I don't know how I feel about it because Burnley have got a lot to fight for. But Trippier feels cheap if he plays. If he doesn't, it's an easy transition to Matty Cash and Callum Wilson. When again he's had a lot of injuries this season, he's had a lot of time on the sidelines. But when Callum Wilson plays, like Newcastle look a different side. He looks so threatening and. Like Burnley are where they are because they've just been poor for most of the season. The Burnley defence, I think, is a bit of a myth. It's not what it once was. And Newcastle are in great form as well. They've won a lot of games since Eddie Howe came in, so wouldn't be surprised if they turn up there and give it a good go in that last game. Burnley do have a lot to fight for, though. That's the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about.
Love the Callum Wilson pick.
Yeah, I think for his price this week, 8.6. Like he played last week, and he just like Newcastle just look a different side. And I think you can make the case if you did want to double up, you could even throw in Saint Maximin or Guimaraes. You could throw a midfielder in there if you want to as well. But I think if Trippier plays, I think that might cover you in a way, Matty Cash or Trippier, because if they both play, the chances are that Newcastle are going to be playing with wing backs. I think that's absolutely fine.
I've just gone Trippier on my team. Seeing his price, I completely missed that 6.7. I think if he does start, I don't know what the safety net on Trippier is. Just looking now, like who would you get?
We'll know if.
Oh, true. Yeah, good point.
But even still, if Trippier doesn't play, he's more towards the expensive end. Like not Matty Cash, sorry. Matty Target is the one I was on about. Yeah, Matty Target, 6.5. He's almost as attacking when you look at his crossing stats and stuff like that. So I think if he doesn't play, it's an easy transition down. You're not worrying about budget.
Nice, I like it. Who'd you go for, Jack?
How much have you left us on the table there, Nick?
31.9, so we've got quite a generous amount to split between three players.
I think
that's Nick, nice of you, mate. Not like Andy.
I'm literally, I either leave you loads of money or nothing, mate.
I like to suggest a 6 million Dele Alli for Andy. I mean,
yeah, we're not going with Dele Alli in this team. I will tell you that right now. We're leaving Dele Alli out.
Well, Nick knows me quite well, so I like to do the stacking with my team. So I'm going to chuck one out there that will give you some more salary relief, and then you can really get some high price guys in. Just put Guy in for Palace at the back, and then you've got your double Palace stack there.
I like it.
And then Andy, where do you want to go from here? I mean, you've got
between two. Fill your boots.
You've got a nice bit of money now.
Yeah, I think my main worries with this team are not covering those big teams personally. Like if Chelsea, Spurs, whatever it is, go massive, you're pretty much out of it already. So straight away when I looked at it, I thought I love the idea of Eriksen and Tony together because I like the kind of if Eriksen swings the free kick in and Tony's on the end of it, I like that double up. But I also think you're kind of exposed to someone like Kane, Son, anybody like that going big, basically. So I think I'd find it really hard not to have one of those in the team this week. So I don't actually know what their I know Kane's 14 point. Oh yeah, Son's more. So
the money's there for it. The money's there because
Yeah.
even throwing them in still going to give us over 10 million for one last player. So
yeah, I don't know what Sessegnon is this week, but I'd love to. That
He's
kind of a double up would
10.8,
be
I
lovely,
think.
wouldn't it?
I think he's in my
That's a bit
team. I've
too
got
much then.
Sessegnon. I've gone there, but he is a lot.
Yeah.
10.8, which leaves enough for both Kane and Son.
Oh, there you go.
Do that.
Yeah,
I
do
think
it.
it's
Quite
Son.
nice, isn't it?
It's got to be Son for me.
So I think that looks quite nice.
Yeah, I don't mind that back four either. Like I know we like kind of back threes in this game, but knowing you've got Trent, Sessegnon, and Trippier, like they don't feel like three defenders there, do they?
Yeah. I agree with that.
I like it, Nick. I like it. Well, was going to be joined by Linn, but I don't know if she's here. So what we will do is get her.
She's in the chat. She's in the chat. I've been chatting to her in the chat. Well, briefly. So she's definitely watching.
You can put a team up and we could just destroy it. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, let's do that. That'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Right, let's get Lynn's team up. and
Not
then,
that she would do that
yeah.
to one of our teams, obviously.
Well, she did to yours last time, to be fair. So
She did.
I mean, it was deservedly so. So, so in goal, she's got Raya. At the back, she's got James. She's actually put the captain's armband on James in this one. Mitchell, Anderson for Palace, Son, Eriksson, and Ziyech in midfield, and Callum Wilson up front. She likes a bit of Callum Wilson up front as well. So, Gianni, first thoughts on that?
I like the commitment to invest in Chelsea. Like, and as we say with team news, we don't have to go James and Ziyech. That could be Alonso and Mount or Havertz. Like, if we know these guys aren't playing, I'm not sure both those Chelsea players start. But at the moment, that doesn't matter. Similar price points for similar other Chelsea assets, and I do think Chelsea are a team that, like, a bit like Liverpool, City, Spurs. Who do we think out of those big four teams, all of which have got good fixtures? Who's going to go the biggest? And that's what it comes down to, right? Like, do we think Chelsea, Watford could be that team? Well, highly possible. My suspicion is that I think Liverpool perhaps have the biggest ceiling, just because I just feel like they'll have a free swing. The Anfield crowd thinking the title could be won, especially if the Villa City game is tight at the time. So that first half, let's say that's 0-0 at half time, and Liverpool just are on party mode. But no, I like it. So I think Callum Wilson, back to like Nick's pick, fantastic value at that price. And then again, we've spoken about Palace defence, and I think Raya's a good keeper too. So I like the shape of it for sure.
Yep. Andy?
Yeah,
This is your moment. You can tear it apart.
Yes, it's awful. There's not one pick I like in there. No, I think we've spoken about the Palace boys already. I do like the Palace boys in terms of I think United just aren't going to be up for it, and I can see that being 1-0, 2-0 Palace. So that's fine. James and Ziyech, as Gianni's already said, we're going to know the lineups anyway. So I think there might be slightly better value somewhere in the Chelsea side because we're going to know who's playing. So, it could be someone like Sarr comes in and he's 1 mil cheaper, or even Lukaku could play, which would be an interesting shout. But yeah, I don't see too much wrong with this personally. As I've already said about Nick's team, I like the Eriksson pick, but I really think I'd like him linked up with another Brentford player. I just feel like Eriksson could be doing a lot of the assists, and you want that player that's going to be scoring the goals as well. Wilson, for me, I must be the only one here that does not liking the Wilson pick. I don't like the Wilson pick at all. He's been out for so long. They're not playing at home, which is where they get all their results. They're playing away from home, even if it is at Burnley. And I don't know, he lost his tooth the other day as well, didn't he? So is he really going to be?
He got it repaired so quickly as well, didn't he?
I know, disgusting.
I know it's only like a veneer because you could actually see his real tooth underneath it, couldn't you? Which they shaved down to put the veneer on. Yeah. Apparently, I did a bit of research on it. But yeah, a few hours later, it's like, yeah, the tooth's fine. I'm like, Jesus, imagine us waiting on an NHS dentist.
Yeah. Yeah,
this
so
is what
I don't mind.
yeah,
exactly. I don't mind the majority of it. I just think as obviously it's based on the Chelsea lineup, and I would like to see Eriksson linked up with another Brentford attacker, really. But the rest of it's fine, I think.
Raya up for a header, maybe.
It could happen, could it?
Nick, any things to add on this team?
Nothing much further to add. I do like the James pick, and I think if she's gone captain with James, I think it's a good way of getting different as well. That I think because James always has that potential to have that week where he scores and assists too. He's when you look back, he has had a lot of there's something brewing, there's something coming from James. It keeps coming from Alonso, and the way that Alonso's been scoring recently, you keep saying like it's not sustainable that he continues to score like he does. I think there will come a time where Reece James just goes off. It could well be this game. So yeah, I like that pick, and Ziyech as well. I think is it certainly, if he starts, he's going to be one of those two that sits behind the front three. So yeah, I like that pick as well.
No, definitely. Can I start the build, like the rest of the build off here? So at 28.3 million we got left in the bank. Can I start it with Alonso? Is everyone happy for me to that? I know we don't like to do the 4-man defense, but I think we've got the potential for clean sheets across the back four then. As Nick has mentioned, with James and Alonso, they do combine quite well. Assists, goals within them. I like it. I think Chelsea go out with a bang. I think Chelsea have something to prove, build a bit of momentum going into next season. So yeah, can I start with Alonso?
Yeah, he ain't no defender. Yeah, and this is the last time we're going to be able to pick Alonso in the Premier League. Like I genuinely think he's off, right? So front five, back five system. He's a front five player, just like Reece.
Yeah. And as a Chelsea fan, I'm quite glad he's off. So,
me too. Me too. And it's weird because non-Chelsea fans all think he's amazing because they're so blinkered by fantasy games, which I get. We all get like that. But when you watch Alonso as a fan, I'm so ready for him to leave our football club. Like, he served us well. He was brilliant in our fantasy games for a long time. But geez, he's not the left back you want in that 11.
No, definitely not. Our season derailed when Ben Chilwell went down injured. That's when the wheels fell off for us, unfortunately. So I've left us with 16.8 million left in the bank there, just over 8 million left per player. Andy, where are we going? Midfielder.
I mean, midfielder, you're killing me.
Do you know what? Go up front? Let's go up front.
I was basically, Linn and Az are both in the chat saying about Tony. I'm all aboard the Tony train this week. I feel like Tony's going to be having a good week. If you did want a midfielder, like I said, I think someone like Wissa or Mbumo could also be a good shout. Wissa's scored in the last 2 games, and he's playing as well. You know, it's an attacking Brentford team against a Leeds team that can't score.
How much is he?
I think he's 8.7.
Is he more than Tony? No, he's less. It'll be less.
No, less than Tony. Yeah, but it goes Tony and Mbumo, Wissa, I believe, and then Ericsson, which is why, like Nick said, he's such good value. But 8.7.
I don't mind the triple stack. This is a tactic that I use in the Monsters a lot each week. Is a triple stack of one team.
It's whether I don't mind doing it. It's whether I trust Brentford to score that many. The thing with Tony is he's got the pens, and you can just see last game of the season, Leeds conceding 2 pens, and Tony takes both and walks away with 10, 11 points for your team. So I do like Tony. It just doesn't leave Nick or Gianni a lot of money for a midfielder.
That's fine. I'm sure they can do something.
Pookie's going back in again, isn't he?
let's chuck Tony in this lineup. Again, it's not leaving us a lot. It's leaving us with 7 million left in the bank. I can set the max price to 7 million. See what we can do.
Have fun with that, Nick. It's got to be Delhi at 6.
Danny Ings against Manchester City.
Oh, will he even start? I mean, I know we're going to get teams, but if he's not going to start, then we're just giving ourselves a headache, aren't we? Solly March will start.
This is
long stuff for Newcastle.
Anthony Gordon. If you really think Everton are going to do well, Dele Alli 6 mil.
They look good when Gordon came off the other night, and they put Gray on instead. They look way better.
Yeah, Gray's a good player. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Gray in a lot of my fan team. I did have Gray in a lot of my fan team, season-long teams at the start of the season. He was brilliant for me at the start. Where do you want to go? Do you really want to put Dele Alli in?
Genuinely, if Dele does start that football match and he's a 6 million asset in this game, I think he's a brilliant enabler. Like there's the North London thing, being a Spurs boy.
Is this Lynn's team?
Yeah.
Yeah, put Dele Alli in. Could you also take the Chelsea boys out and put Mikalenko and Michael Keane in, please?
Definitely. Linn, hope you like that team. It's I don't mind it, to be fair. The alley call is very differential. It's something I like to do when I'm playing DFS. I don't mind it.
Linn made a good point in the chat. Sorry, Jack, I missed. I had a lag, so I didn't realize I was interrupting you. But she says stop big at the back, and she made a good point. There won't be any clean sheets. Game week 38. We know how many goals are produced in game week 38, don't we? Like it's always way above the average, but I still consider, James and Alonso forwards.
There are clean sheets though. Just the big teams tend to go really big. Like bigger. City will score 5 or 6. Yeah. So obviously the average is higher.
What have you done to Lynn's lovely team? Well, she's not here to defend herself, so it's her own fault, really. Guys, once again, thank you for joining me tonight. Head on over to fanteam.com. There's a couple of contests running beside the big one now. The big one is full, like I mentioned at the start. You've got a €2 contest for a €5,000 prize pool. The €20 contest with a progressive prize pool. And yeah, just have fun. Enjoy game week 38. Gianni, where can we find your lovely self?
Thanks, guys. And Linn, if you're watching, please post your team on Twitter so we can see what you did with it. And you probably did significantly better than we did by putting players like Dele in. Sorry.
The good thing is we will all know by 4 o'clock what the teams are. So before lock, you will know exactly who's in and who's out for this week. Yeah. Nick, where can we find your lovely self? And thank you for joining me tonight, mate.
No worries, as always. You can find me at Nick of Wigan, and hopefully next season again, I'll be back with the weekly monster blogs, which I've absolutely loved doing this year. And we've had some cashing lineups as well. And you can find me on Tuesday evenings with your good self, Jack, talking all things drivers, irons, and putters.
Yeah, very boring stuff.
Yeah. And Andy, grass, lots of grass as well. It would appeal to a lot of FPL people. We talk a lot of grass.
Yeah, we do talk a lot of different grass types. Andy, where can we find your lovely self, sir?
Yeah, on Twitter, and obviously doing videos for Scout and that as well, at FPL mode. Thank you very much for having me again, Jack. Always enjoyable.
No, you're welcome, mate. Thank you for coming. And Gianni, just a quick plug for your Twitter handle, please.
Cheers, guys. Gianni Buttice, handles there. Been wicked joining you guys. I've just given Jack and Nick a follow. So, yeah, I hope to chat way more FanTeam with you next season. Andy, we clearly follow each other. Although when you posted the other day about muting certain accounts because of like all the noise, I was like, I bet on one of those noisy ones. Like I bet on one of those mute ones because of like the summer and Italy and all that.
I have no idea. I don't see your tweets.
Guys, enjoy game week 38. Thanks for joining us tonight.
See you guys.
Nice one. Cheers.